So we've now got our chart with one set of data on it on the screen. It's called repeat one because that's the data that it's showing. And it's got the single set of results. If you click on the chart, Excel does quite a nice job of showing you what data has been shown on this graph. So on the x-axis here, highlighted in purple, we've got the times, and on the y-axis, we've got the heights. Now, sometimes you might choose to plot a graph of the average height of the liquid. But let's say for the case of what we're doing here, I wanted to plot a graph of all three repeats, all shown on a single graph. Excel isn't particularly good at doing this with the way we've entered the data at the moment. So there's a bit of a workaround to solve this. What I'd like to be able to do is just come in here and edit this. So I might change the name from repeat one to just Coke bottle. And then what I'd really like to do is come into this box and say, I don't just want you to display the values in columns D from row 3 to row 12. I want you to do it in columns D, E, and F. But if I come in here and try and do this, it will tell me, no, that's not allowed. Oh, okay. So part of the problem there was I didn't delete what was in the cell before. Let's do that again. If I come in here, whoops, I've gone too far. Select that group of cells and press enter. It says, no, you can't do that. I'm only going to accept things that are in a single cell, row, or column. So I can't have things in 3 different cells. So that's a pain. That annoys me. I'd like to be able to do it like that, but I can't. So what I'm going to have to do is rearrange this data somewhere else. Now, at this point, I think it's useful to start using additional sheets. So these tables of results are nice presentable tables. We'd be quite happy printing these and sticking them in to into a lab book. That would be, they're nicely presented, they're clear, we can see what's going on in them. But we might have our second sheet set up that has our data that we can make use of for the chart on it. So what I'm going to do to start off with is just copy everything that's on sheet 1. So Control and C over onto sheet 2. So I've got an exact copy of it. But then what I want to do is rearrange these values so that they appear under the first set of values, and then these values so they appear under those. So I'm going to create myself a whole load of space. I can do that by highlighting a load of cells and clicking insert. It will insert exactly as many cells as I've just highlighted. I'm not counting very carefully. I'm just making sure I'm not going to run out of room. And all I need to do is move this set of cells down so that they appear under here, and move this set of cells down so they appear under here. My last 2 columns now have been messed up, but that doesn't matter because I'm not going to use that part of the chart in here anyway. If I wanted, I could go and delete those ones anyway so that they don't matter. And then so that I've got the times appearing, again, I'm going to copy and paste and paste. So I've got my times and liquids now, rather than written as 3 separate repeats, all written next to each other. I could do this for all 3. I'm not going to. I'll just do it for the Coke bottle for the time being. So we'll ignore those ones underneath. Now, going back into sheet 1, I'm going to go back now and select data for this chart and change this first series that's appearing on it. Let's get rid of it and do what I wanted to do. I want to call it Coke bottle. But now I know the X values that I want to appear on this chart are not on sheet 1, they're on sheet 2 in this section here. So I can still come in, I can move between sheets and still select on here. As soon as I press enter, it will ask me what I want for the Y values. So again, I'm going to make sure I delete what I had written previously, go to that red arrow that lets me highlight the things I want, come down this column here, press enter. Again, this thing's gone long. Go back to it, press OK, and there we are. I've got all of the data from both columns represented on a single chart all at the same time. And the dots are all the same color. So you might have looked at this and thought, but surely there was another way around this problem at the start, which would have just been to add another series. I could have done. The problem is how Excel deals with separate series later on. If I want to add a single line of best fit for all of this data, I need it to all be in the same series. Excel can't draw a line of best fit for 2 different sets of data. So if I had have done that, I mean, I can do it fairly quickly. I could have thought that this was the way to go. I'm just going to call it number 1 rather than repeat 1. Those values on the x-axis, those values on the y-axis. That one's done. Then I could have added another one, number 2. Those values on the x-axis, those values on the y-axis. But you can see already that the dots have come out as different colors. And as I said, they're not really separate results to one another. The column 2 results are not really linked to one another in any way. They are all just results. There's 3 results for each time. I've written them in 3 columns, but the order in which they're written doesn't matter. So I could do it like this. But the trouble is Excel treats this as 3 separate pieces of data, which I don't really want. So I'm going to get it to display all 3 bits of data in the same color by that bit of awkward manipulation of moving them around on a second sheet that's sort of hidden from us almost when we go and look at the Excel spreadsheet to begin with.